All right, welcome back to our second session on the release, and we're talking about the person that we have been in a discipleship relationship is now ready to be released to be a disciple maker on their own. And we're talking about next steps. Now, if you haven't seen the first session on release, go ahead and check out that training because it's going to explain everything else that we're talking about. So, next steps. That person is now ready to be released to be a disciple maker. They're there. What do you do? First thing is explain the change in relationship. You don't want them to feel embittered or like you're abandoning them. So explain the idea. Go back to this idea of discipleship. Go back to the change in relationship. Explain to them, hey, it's not that we're ending this relationship. We're just changing it from being a mentor and apprentice to now you are becoming a coworker. You're helping to disciple people. You're making disciples alongside of me. And so explain that change. Make it clear so that the person that you're working with doesn't feel like you're abandoning them. The second thing is celebrate the achievement. This is huge, okay? This should be one of the monumental events of a person's life. They have now become a disciple maker. They are entering into doing what Christ has designed them to do. So celebrate it. Find a way to make this moment exciting for them. Throw a party. I don't know. Make it big. The third is this. Honor the 3 R's. Now, the 3 R's are rest, refresh, re-engage. Okay, now you have just exited a very intense relationship. So take a moment, relax, refresh. That means go back to God, pray where He wants you next, begin looking around in the ponds that you have, and then third thing, re-engage. Okay, just because you disciple one person doesn't mean that your role as a disciple maker is done. God's kingdom has need of you. So re-engage, enter into another relationship, and start this whole process all over again. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, what do I do with someone if I've been spending all this time with them and they just don't get it? It just doesn't connect. They never get to the point where I fill out their PI assessment and everything is thumbs up. And here's some ideas, okay? So what to do with that person when they don't get it? First of all, help them recognize where it is they need to grow. That's your job as a disciple maker. You can't make them grow, but you can point to the areas they need to grow. You can say, hey, this is where you're stuck, and I want you to work on this. But don't feel like you have to continue meeting with them every week. But send them off with an invitation to come back at any time if they are ready to start growing in that area. Okay, send them off and say, if you have shown yourself to be purposed and intentional, but you're just not willing to grow when it comes to being equipped, when you're ready to grow and become an equipped disciple maker, I am more than happy to hang out with you. And then the third thing is just continue to pray for them, because you never know what God is going to do in their life. They might not be ready at this stage. It might take a couple of years for them to realize what God has designed them to do. And they might be ready at that point. So, like I said, help them recognize where they need to grow. Send them off with an invitation to return when they're ready to grow, and then continue to pray for them. And hopefully, hopefully God will continue to just work in that person's life. The Spirit will shape them and help them become the person that's ready to re-enter into a discipleship relationship and become a disciple maker. So that's it. We're done. This is the last training session. And so go ahead, begin discipling, multiply disciples, release those disciples, and then start all over again.
One more time, we say